Alright, Parlay Jay here with you today, doing my very first video. Oh yeah. And so right off the bat, I'm going to have to give props to my buddy Silver Jackify on his YouTube channel, aptly named Silver Jackify, for kind of giving me the idea to get on this. So like many of you, I'm sure, I was a collector hardcore in my younger days. And then I kind of went on hiatus, and now, I guess it kind of just overtook me again. So I wanted to sort of share the wealth of, everything that I went through, kind of getting my bearings back again for something that I was out of for so long, and sharing that with you guys. And also, obviously want to get your feedback and hear what you have to say. So I figured a good way to start things off would be my very first Mickey Mantle card, PSA Mickey Mantle card, as it were. So I just got this off eBay, and I got it delivered a couple of days ago. So I've been holding off till I can shoot this video up with you so that we can sort of do an unboxing together. A couple things that I wanted to go over, just for those that are, not completely familiar with PSA and purchasing cards now. I mean, if you were last into buying cards 15, 20, 25 years ago, you typically either walked into a baseball card store or you had one of these gigantic satellite dishes that not everybody had yet because you still had cable TV that picked up these weird channels with the dude who ended up announcing for those of you wrestling fans there, TNA Wrestling, Joe, I forget his name, Joe West? Mark West? I forgot his name. But if you heard his voice, that's definitely the guy, and you know what I'm talking about. He would basically sell you, you'd have to call up some 800 number, some weird studio over in Minnesota somewhere, for all we know, and then have these cards shipped to you. But now, we're in the time of eBay and buying on Amazon and online, and so I want to just walk you guys through, what my process is for buying a card online, because there is a lot to sift through. It's not as simple as the old days where there was, the Beckett magazine, and that's what you would base your pricing on. So without further ado, why don't we open this bad boy and then talk a little bit about the cards. So here it is. Got it in the mail. I'm going to just chop this guy open now, and package very nice and secure. I appreciate that. Rip this open, and there it is, folks. Mickey Mantle in the PSA casing. And also in a plastic casing, just for extra protection. So I'm going to open up the plastic casing just for now, just so we can get a good look at the card. All right, so this, as I said, this is my very first Mickey Mantle card. So I'm pretty psyched about this. This is the 1958 Topps All-Star Selection card, Mickey Mantle. So it graded out as a PSA 5. So try to zoom in there so you can see. So PSA 5 is what it graded out at. When you look at the card, it actually looks pretty solid. It looks like maybe it could have graded out a bit higher. If you check out the corners here, I mean, there's definitely a little bit of wear on there, but that's a very nice corner. Another very nice corner, another one, and another one. The centering is, definitely off, so I'm sure that was a major factor in it. Not nearly as bad, though, as what you might see for cards in this era, or even in this set. It's a lot easier, obviously, to tell the off-centering for a card like this because you see, the stark contrast of the red background to the white border. There's definitely some fading going on the color, so all in all that kind of bringing it to that PSA 5 grading, which is where we are today. But super nice card. I'm really excited to be adding this one to my collection. You can see on the back already. I mean, obviously the centering is just not there. Another reason why we're clearly contributing to the PSA 5 grading. But again, corners are looking, really good. Looks like there's maybe a little bit of marking there. I'm not sure if that's on the case. No, I think that was on the case. But there you go. I mean, if not for that centering, I think this would have graded out a bit higher. Some little bit of dings on some of these corners, so no one's perfect. But this is a sweet card. If you are into vintage cards and you haven't really delved into it, they're definitely worth the investment, in my eyes anyways. Obviously, simply because of the rarity. And because, I've come to learn, and my buddy Silver Jackify was the first thing he kind of said to me, and I'm going to steal from him on this one, where you get the more modern cards and they just say, all right, PSA 10, PSA 10, PSA 10. You get the older cards and, not nearly as easy to get a 10. I actually had, so similar, this Dave Winfield here. So if you see it on the top right, I had that guy graded from a loose card, and I thought it was in pretty good shape, and it only graded out as a 4. So there's also some kind of arbitrariness, I think, to some of the grading, but the more you do it, the more you kind of figure it out. You'll see how it goes. So definitely pumped about this card. So, adding this with my Mickey Mantle autograph ball is definitely something that I am excited about. So the next thing I wanted to just kind of go over was my process for selecting this card and why I picked this card and how I picked this card, among many. So for me, there was a little bit of less science and math and a little bit more emotion behind this purchase. So I probably overpaid a little bit for it, just because I really wanted to add a Mantle to my collection and saw the opportunity and took it. But for those of you that are not familiar with it, if you've been to psacard.com, the PSA website, that is an amazing source for getting your bearings. I would use two things. One, the PSA card website, and two, obviously eBay. And I'll show you what I mean by that. So first thing, and I'll try to swing this over a little bit so that we can get this in view. So the first thing that you're going to notice is when you're on the PSA website, there's a price guide and then there's a pop report. So it's called population report. So those are two key things that you want to use. So I'm looking at the population report for 1958 tops, the set. And when you scroll down, I searched for Mickey Mantle particularly. And here on this row, here's the exact Mickey Mantle card that we're talking about now. So what it essentially says is the number of cards that are in circulation that have been graded by PSA and what their grade came out to be on a scale of 1 to 10. So if you notice, the sweet spot here for this Mantle in particular is right around 5 and 6, about 1,500 5s, 1,600 6s. But then as you get to 9 and 10, there's only 46 9s out there right now and no 10s. So clearly, if you were to get your hands on a 9 and see one on eBay that's already graded, the price is going to be, multiples higher than this PSA 5, for example, that we're talking about here today. So that's just one thing to keep in mind. If you happen to get a card that is a graded, PSA 5 or 6, it doesn't automatically mean it's cheap and not desirable. If you look at it in terms of what's out there, and there's just a real short supply on the high end of the grading scale, and 5s and 6s happen to, be the highest, that's a desirable card. So that's one thing you want to keep in mind when you're picking your cards. And then the second is eBay itself, right? So for example, if I do a search on eBay for 1958 Topps Mickey Mantle All-Star, and I just did one in particular for PSA 5, then you're going to come up with everything that is listed in the, the subject that matches those letters and words. So now there's definitely schools of thought where you get clever and maybe you misspell Mickey or Mantle, and you get less eyes on those eBay listings than on the ones that are spelled right. And your hope is that maybe you get it a little bit cheaper because not as many people are finding it. They call that search engine optimization when you're actually using keywords the right way. But when you're using it the wrong way, then you're failing at search engine optimization. But somebody can come and profit off of it anyways. So the key thing is when you look on eBay for this card is you want to make sure that if you're on a computer, you scroll down on the left side, and if you're on a phone, it's actually a little widget on the top right. You want to pick the sold items, and then you want to sort by date. And what you want to get from that is kind of the trend on what the market price is for this card or any card you're looking at. And you want to just get a sense of over time. Is it going up? Is it going down? Is it erratic? And that's going to give you a sense of if that's a good buy or not a good buy. What I have seen is if you go to Google and you're a new collector and you just Google 1958 Topps Mickey Mantle All-Star, for example, you're going to get listings from all different websites, even from Amazon, where the price is way overinflated. And they're just kind of hoping that they get somebody who's not hip to this and just doesn't really understand how pricing and whatnot works, and is just willing to pay purely on emotion. So it's really important. I can't, stress enough. I obviously learned the hard way as well. Many of my friends have learned the hard way. I would definitely say go to eBay and do this. And as you see, as I scroll down here, it looks like over the last, month or two, the range that this card has sold at is somewhere between maybe 85 and 120 or 125. It looks like there's a 75. So you see there's definitely like spikes and peaks and valleys on the sales prices. And, of course, there's all different sellers too. So some are just, a dude who's selling his cards. He doesn't even know who Mickey Mantle is. So maybe he's willing to take less. But then there's places like these that have special logos, PWCC and Probstein, some of the biggest sellers of consignment online. And, clearly they're not likely to give you, the greatest deals. You'll get some decent deals out of them. But just as you scroll down here, you can kind of gauge what you should be paying for this. So I paid kind of somewhere in the middle, and I was happy with that. I probably could have got it a little bit lesser than that, but heck, whatever. So I wanted to really just kind of go through that and just really explain what my school of thought was when buying this card and when buying any card, but also obviously share with you guys this pretty cool unboxing. So I was definitely really pumped to open this Mantle, add it to the collection here, and really excited to share it with you guys. So I would love to hear you guys' feedback. This is, very first video. Definitely going to work on things, work on, a better backdrop, work on, some more themes for future videos to come. But I'm really excited, and I hope that this was helpful and you kind of enjoyed it, and this was kind of cool for you, especially if you're a Mickey Mantle fan, checking out the card, having the autograph. There's a couple of Yankees back there in the back, which I'm sure if you're a Yankee fan, you already picked up on. So thanks again, guys. Until next time, this is Parlay Jay, and I will see you next time. Take care. Spike your hair. See you next time.